Howdy folks, it's the third week of May 2025 and welcome to This Week in the West. I'm Seth Spillman, broadcasting from the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. On this podcast, we share stories of the people and events that shape the history, art, and culture of the American West, and those still shaping it today. It was the 1920s, and John was just a teenager standing in a shed in southern Idaho, trying to figure out how to make potatoes last a little longer. His experiments worked, and from that humble start, John Richard Jack Simplot transformed the way Americans ate for the rest of the century. We remember J.R. Simplot, the Potato King, on the week of his death, May 25, 2008. Simplot was born to a family of Iowa farmers in 1909. Like many others looking for opportunity, the family headed west and resettled in southern Idaho. He was just 14 years old when he dropped out of school, and not long after, he started tinkering with ways to dry and store potatoes. In Simplot's mind, it was simple. The more you could grow, the more you could store, and the more you could sell. Before long, he was selling potatoes and buying land, and then selling more potatoes and buying even more land. In 1932, he officially launched his own company. Simplot had figured out how to turn every step of potato farming from seed to distribution into a thriving business. Many years later, in the year 2000, when sharing his collected wisdom with Esquire magazine, Simplot explained what it took to grow a good potato. He said you had to put them in ground that had been in alfalfa for 5 or 6 years, plant certified seed from the upper country where there's no disease, keep them cool, turn the sacks, dig them early so they don't pick up disease, and then raise your own seed. That, he said, was the secret to growing a good crop. Sounds easy, right? But what Simplot really added was innovation, not just in how potatoes were grown, but in the form they came in. When the United States entered World War II, the government needed ways to feed troops with food that could stay stable anywhere in the world. Simplot stepped up with dehydrated potatoes and onions, earning him a huge government contract and helping to supply the war effort. His empire was growing, and when the hungry consumers of the 1950s came along, it hit warp speed. In 1953, Simplot and his team developed a way to freeze pre-cooked French fries. These frozen fries could be shipped and stored easily, and when refried, they delivered that perfect bite, crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Just as Simplot was cracking the French fry code, another revolution was brewing. Restaurant chains with multiple locations were springing up, offering simple menus and quick service to eager customers. Fast food was born, and fast food needed French fries. In 1967, Simplot struck a deal with Ray Kroc, the man behind McDonald's, to become the chain's exclusive supplier of frozen fries. This partnership helped launch the modern fast food era and turned Simplot's company into a juggernaut. Within a few years, the company was producing millions of pounds of frozen French fries each day. Today, French fries are the world's biggest selling food service item. Every year, the average American eats around 30 pounds of frozen fries. As fast food grew, so did Simplot's empire. He invested in other crops, cattle, and fertilizer. He was an early investor in the computer chip manufacturing industry as well. And then there was the land. Simplot's footprint in the West was enormous. When he was alive, he was one of the country's biggest individual landowners. His ZX Ranch in Oregon was one of the largest cattle ranches in the country. Despite all that success, Simplot maintained a rugged Western persona. He dressed plainly, wore cowboy boots, and spoke his mind. In 1996, Simplot was inducted into our Hall of Great Westerners here at the Cowboy. He stayed active in his company well into his 90s, and at the time of his death on May 25, 2008, at the age of 99, J.R. Simplot was one of the wealthiest men in America. Reflecting on his life, the Idaho statesman shared a quote from Simplot about how he wanted to be remembered. "Oh, hell, I don't care what they say, but I think I've made enough marks around here that somebody will say, well, that guy was pretty smart. He hung on." The J.R. Simplot Company, still headquartered in Boise, remains a privately held, family-run business. It continues to rank among the world's largest suppliers of frozen potatoes and a global leader in agriculture, food processing, and innovation, carrying forward the spirit of the Potato King. And with that, we've finished up another side order of This Week in the West. Our show is produced by Chase Spivey and written by Mike Kaler. Follow us and rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you hear us. That'll help us reach more people. You can follow us on social media and online at nationalcowboymuseum.org. Got a question or a suggestion? Drop us an email at podcast@nationalcowboymuseum.org. We leave you today with the words of former Idaho Governor Butch Otter, who was also a former son-in-law of J.R. Simplot. His legacy is his vision. Compared to him, the rest of the world was wearing bifocals. Much obliged for listening, and remember, come find your West here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.